Hi everyone, thanks so much for joining me, Georgia Bamber, today, and we are going to be having a workshop on what is an NFT and why you should be excited. Now, this was supposed to be a live class, and it started out that way, but we had a few technical difficulties earlier this morning, what was evening time for you guys, and I had to cut the webinar short. So now I'm doing a recorded version, which is going to be sent out to you all. So my big apologies to anyone who showed up for the live webinar. I'm really sorry about the technical difficulties I had, but I've got it all sorted out now. So hopefully this should be good. So we're here to talk about NFTs, and I'm hopefully going to be giving you a nice, clear and concise guide so you can really understand what they are and why you might want to get more involved and perhaps use them and invest in them in your own life. So I'm going to switch over and share my screen with you, if I can find the button, and we will jump straight in. All right. So you should be able to see that right now. With any luck, it's all working. And we are ready to get going. So, as I said, welcome and thank you very much for coming along today. We're talking about what is an NFT, all right? And why I think you should be excited. So I hope today that we're going to be setting off some light bulbs for you and perhaps changing the way you think about the future, what's coming in terms of technology and changes, and the future of perhaps your business. Now, the world is changing at an incredibly rapid pace. There are advances being made every single day that most people actually aren't even aware of. It's all happening right beneath our noses. Now, I'm sure most of you have heard about cryptocurrencies, so Bitcoin most likely, and probably Ethereum and some of the other more popular currencies and tokens. You've obviously heard about NFTs because that's why you're here and you want to learn more. And of course, they have been in the news a lot lately as well. And there's been some really famous brands and names that have gotten on board with NFTs like Nike and Pepsi and Adidas and Gucci. I even got an email from Bugatti the other day. They're going in. So lots of people are jumping in on this. Now, if you don't really know what an NFT is, but you want to find out, you're in the right place, okay? And don't worry, apparently about 70% of people out there haven't even heard of NFTs. So the fact that you're here means you're ahead of the game already, okay? You're ahead of most people. Now, if you already know a little bit about NFTs, but want to learn how to get involved and how you could potentially use them in your work or your business, well, then you are also in the right place because we're going to be touching on that too. But beyond kind of having read about them in the news or, at least knowing what NFT means, your understanding might be a little bit hazy, all right? And don't worry, because most people I talk to about what I do in the NFT space think I'm a little bit crazy. They have no idea what I'm talking about. And generally, they look at me a little bit like this, okay? Like the puppy on the screen, curious, but with no idea what I'm talking about. So today, I'm here to dispel some of this confusion, all right? And to give you a clear and concise guide of the NFT world. So that is what we're going to be doing. But before we get into all that, actually, I did this before. We're not live, so I can't ask you to let me know what your experience or knowledge of NFTs is. But actually, the group this morning who were in the live webinar, we had quite a broad range. We had some people who really had no idea what they were, but were interested to find out. And we had people who were buying them already. So this webinar should really work for that broad range. So we have a mix of people in here. So, right. Now, you might be wondering a little bit about me, okay, and why I'm here speaking to you about NFTs and how I got started in the kind of crypto and NFT game. So, as you already know, my name is Georgia Bamber, and I'm working now as an NFT and Web3 consultant, helping businesses to utilize strategies to take that step kind of towards the future. But let me start from the beginning. And I have to be very honest, I do not have a computer science background, okay? I am frankly useless at coding, and a lot of the technical aspects of blockchain and the various crypto networks and protocols and DeFi strategies pretty much go over my head. Okay, I have to admit that is true. But what I do have is a very healthy curiosity, okay, an ability to kind of read and listen and absorb a lot of information. And I have a true fascination with the scope of this new technology and how it has the ability to change the world in the ways that I really think we need it to change. But how did I get started? Well, to be honest, it all started with a cat. Although I had been philosophically interested in Bitcoin and the mechanisms by which it all worked as a store of value, I'd done quite a bit of reading, but I hadn't actually made the steps to buy any. It all seemed to be a little bit too complicated, potentially risky, and a little bit, frankly, out of my wheelhouse. But then I saw an ad in my local paper about a litter of Siamese kittens, and I really wanted one of those kittens. But my husband wasn't that keen. And in fairness, he's allergic to cats. So, I gave him that, but I wanted one anyway. So I set about raising some capital to go and buy her. And I decided a good way to do this would why not be to just jump in and buy myself some Bitcoin, finally kind of do what I'd been reading about. So I figured out how to sign up to an exchange, how to get a wallet, how to buy the Bitcoin. And then lo and behold, in like 1 week, my investment doubled, okay, which is a pure stroke of luck. I couldn't believe it. I was a crypto genius trader, doubled my money in a week. So, of course, what I immediately did was cash some of it out and went and bought that kitten, who is, of course, called Bitly. You can see a picture of her here. So Bitly, short for Bitcoin, because that is how she came to be mine. Anyway, as it turns out, she is now probably one of the most expensive cats in the world, based on the Bitcoin that I paid for her back in early 2019. It's gone up quite a bit since then. But to me, she's worth every penny. And beyond having this lovely little cat, she actually started me on this pathway that has now completely changed my life. Because after that first investment, after that first little buying of Bitcoin, I became completely hooked. I couldn't get enough. And Bitcoin was just the beginning. I soon learned that there was so much more to this world of crypto, Ethereum and Solana and Algorand and Avalanche, just to name a few of the other protocols, all run by people trying to solve some of the big problems in our world, trying to help people take back control of their money, helping millions of people access capital and financial services, and creating opportunities that were never before available. It was incredibly exciting. Then, of course, I read even further and discovered the world of decentralized finance and the various tokens and investment opportunities that come along with those. And then don't even get me started on the possibilities and potential of the metaverse and gaming and the changes that these are going to make for our society going forwards. It is enormous. The impact is enormous. And of course, my exploration led me to the insanely crazy but super fun world of NFTs. So the next thing I knew, I decided to throw in my successful coaching practice. Some of you might have seen me here speaking at a small world before. I've done webinars in the past on mindset and things like that, but I've decided to give up coaching. And I've now gone all in and become, I trade my own crypto. I dabble in NFTs. I've got quite a big NFT portfolio growing now. I've created my own NFT project called the Sloth Lounge. And I'm now consulting with a number of organizations in both the corporate and the charity space on helping them to develop an NFT strategy and build communities through this technology. So of course, I'm also spreading the word about crypto and NFTs through webinars and workshops just like this. So that is my journey into this crazy world. Now I'm hoping today this webinar might help get you started on your journey into crypto. So are you ready? Now, blockchain and crypto have been around since 2008. Excuse me, so that's around 13 or 14 years, okay? So it's pretty early, and they've really only been mainstream for the last few years. Web3 is completely in its infancy. So this is all really early stuff. But even so, there are a few things that I know for sure already. So the first one is the world is changing super quickly, okay? Blockchain, Web3, crypto, these are a revolution that's happening right now. It's a bit of a roller coaster ride, to be sure, but it is moving forwards at a relentless pace, and it's not going to be stopping. Now, the second thing I know for sure is that for those who recognize what is going on, for those who can see this, there are huge and exciting opportunities. Completely new business models are being generated, new ways of working, communicating, and interacting. Generational wealth is being accumulated and changing hands. Now, the third thing I know for sure is that we are just at the beginning. Understand this now, and you are going to be so far ahead of everybody else in this game. WAGMI. It's one of the favorite mantras of the crypto world, and it means we are all going to make it. If you are in early, if you are following this now and you're getting involved, you're going to make it. So remember that mantra. It's a fun one. All right, so I hope you're excited to dive into this content and learn more. Now, we're going to be covering quite a lot today, and I'm guessing that for many of you, it's going to be pretty new stuff. So I would have been leaving time for questions if this was live, but if you do have any questions after watching this, I'm very happy for you to get in touch with me, drop me an email with your questions, and I will answer them that way, since I wasn't able to do this live for you. So here's an outline of what we're going to be talking about. Now, I know you're all here to learn about NFTs, but it's going to make so much more sense if I give you a little bit of background. So first, we are going to take a quick look at blockchain and Web3, what they mean and why they're exciting. Okay, and then the second thing we're going to talk about is, of course, to move on to NFTs and discuss, well, what is an NFT? Well, what can you actually do with one? And then lastly, we are going to look at how you can use NFTs in your business and how you can use them to build communities. There are so many applications for NFTs that you probably haven't even thought about. So first off, let me give you some of that background, okay, into the kind of revolution that's going on right now. Welcome to this new world of crypto and Web3. It's a world that's underpinned by blockchain technologies, okay? And it's rapidly moving us towards a more decentralized and more democratized world. Now, as I said, of course, this is early days and there is still a lot of work to be done. All right, we are early, which gives us the chances to be pioneers or early adopters, which gives us, of course, immense opportunity. It's kind of like being able to whiz back to the early 90s and start your own .com business, okay, with that hindsight, or perhaps to go to the early 2000s and leverage the first Facebook accounts, or get in on early in building your Instagram following, okay? The early adopters from these moments in time have reaped huge rewards going forwards. And here we are at another one of those crucial moments in history. But this one actually feels much, much bigger. It's one you don't want to be ignoring. So let's take a look. So blockchain, we've all heard about it. And to be honest, most people, including myself, just kind of glaze over at the mention of it, all right? Sounds pretty boring, sounds all too techie. But trust me, it is worth your time just having even a vague understanding of what blockchain is, so you understand why it's important. Now, I guess we really don't think about it all that much, but our entire society, our legal systems, our financial institutions, our economy, all depend on the safe recording of contracts and transactions. Things like how much money you have in the bank, who owns your house, your car, how you vote, so many things we do and then we record. Now, traditionally, these types of transactions were recorded in a written ledger, so in a book with kind of, a pen. In more recent times, obviously, we've moved to digital ledgers, so most of these transactions are stored on computers, which we then typically entrust to a custodian, like a government or a bank or your lawyer. Now, just like these more traditional ways of keeping records, blockchain is also a ledger, all right? But it's not one that's in the hands of any single individual or entity. We don't need to trust anyone with the blockchain. It's trustless because it's digitally distributed across a network. which makes it a centralized public ledger that anyone can view at any time. And as such, it's protected from tampering, from deletion, from revision, all right? And it provides the potential to record every agreement, every transaction, task, and payment in this digital record that can be validated, stored, and shared. And the applications, when you start thinking about it for blockchain, are almost endless, okay? And it's got the potential to completely change the way we live our lives and run our business. It's huge, this technology. So in the picture here on the screen, you can see the essence of how it works, okay, in a very simple way. So blockchain uses mathematics, okay, encryption and computation, which I know sounds complicated if you're a non-techie like me, but just as you don't have to understand how the internet works to use it, because I don't think probably many of us do, I know I don't, we don't need to understand, you know, more than the basics about blockchain to adopt it into our lives as well. So this picture here shows you the basics, I think, all that a layperson needs to know. So as you can see from the picture, someone requests a transaction, for example, to purchase an NFT. Now, this request gets sent to the network of nodes working on the blockchain, and one of these nodes will validate the transaction. It then becomes part of a new block on the ledger, which is then added to the existing blocks that are already there. That's why it's called a blockchain. It's each of these blocks all joined together. And after that happens, the transaction is complete. It's recorded and it cannot be deleted and it cannot be tampered with because it's part of that chain, all right? That's how it works. Now, one of the biggest users of blockchain technology has, of course, been cryptocurrencies, from the most well-known like Bitcoin to Ethereum and the thousands of other protocols and networks and platforms and memes that have been tokenized in the form of a cryptocurrency. So crypto is essentially just a form of decentralized digital money. They make it possible to transfer value online without the need for a middleman. So there's no need for a bank or a payment processor. And value can be transferred globally, almost instantly, okay, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's amazing. Once you start using crypto to kind of pay for things and transfer money, the traditional banking system is incredibly frustrating. So crypto can be used as a store of value. It can be used to buy goods and services. It can be used as an investment strategy. They provide equal opportunity for anyone with a smartphone. Okay, that's what's brilliant about them. And they have enabled thousands and thousands of people who are traditionally unbanked, who don't have access to these kind of services that most of us take for granted. They've allowed them to access these financial services. Now, crypto is also the way that many new protocols and networks and dApps are financed. Okay, so it's creating a whole world of wealth and opportunity. Now, the possibility for decentralization provided by the blockchain, okay, which gives us that ledger, and coupled with the ability to conduct transactions instantly with crypto, you know, at minimal cost, leads us logically to the next step, and that is Web3. All right. Now, this is a term you might have heard thrown around a lot lately. It simply actually refers to the next iteration of the internet, okay? So one that promotes decentralized protocols and aims to reduce our dependency on the large tech companies like YouTube, Netflix, and Amazon, all right? But what actually is Web3, all right? And why is everyone talking about it? It's been in the news a lot. So in essence, Web3 is just the next iteration of the internet. And the best way to understand it is to take a look at what came before. So Web 1 version 1.0 was the first phase of the WWW evolution. It was the readable phase of the internet. And it basically consisted of a collection of links and home pages. If you were around back kind of when the internet first came up, I guess in the late 90s, you know, websites weren't very interactive, pages were mostly static. You couldn't really do much except read content that people had put up there. So that's why it's the readable phase. Now, Web 2, that's where we are now. Web 2 is the writable phase, okay? It's the version that we have known and loved or not loved, depending on your perspective, over the past 10 years or so. So Web 2, it's a more social experience. It's a participatory web because it enables users not only to read content, but to interact and share and create their own content. So as you know, users have been encouraged to connect with each other through social networking and through blogs. And this has generated massive amounts of data and content, which of course is now at the moment largely controlled by a small group of tech giants: Google, Facebook, YouTube, Amazon, Apple, the parties there. And although Web 2 has been an incredible evolution and it's changed our lives in so many ways, okay, changed the lives humans interact and communicate, there have of course been positives, but this concentration of power to a handful of companies has led to a lot of data and privacy concerns. So this is where Web 3 comes in. Web 3 is the decentralized version of the internet, and it's based on openness and greater utilization for individual users, for us. So unlike in Web 2, where platforms and apps are owned by the large tech companies, Web 3 platforms and apps will be developed and owned and maintained by users, okay, by you and I. And this is done through the use of tokens and cryptocurrencies. So people can become participants and shareholders, rather than as it is now being just like customers, or in a lot of the case, we are the product, okay? So ownership in these new applications and platforms will come, as I said, in the forms of tokens and cryptocurrency. And they will give people a say over the networks and platforms that they use. Okay, what happens on networks will be decided by users, not by the tech giant overlords, all right? So Web 3 provides us with a chance to build systems where the incentives of network owners and network users are aligned, okay? So it will benefit us, the users, rather than the gatekeepers. Now, Web3 is a really handy, I guess, all-encompassing term that captures the use of cryptocurrencies, smart contracts, decentralized infrastructure, NFTs, DeFi, the metaverse, and the rise of community governance through DAOs, decentralized organizations. Now, it can be used really as an umbrella term for the whole decentralized tech movement. And funnily enough, this now brings us nicely around to NFTs. And why is that? Because I think NFTs are one of the killer apps of Web3. Now, most people, if they think about NFTs at all, think it is just a silly fad. People buying worthless JPEGs that's likely going to end in tears of people losing lots of money. But I'm here to show you that this is wrong. NFTs as a technology, as a data storage tool, and as an asset will end up transforming the world. And I'm going to show you now why I believe that to be true. So I was going to ask you this live, but of course we're recorded now. So when I say the word NFT, what is it that you think about? Okay, what pops immediately to mind? Just have a think about that before we move on. All right, so popular projects that you might have heard of, things like CryptoPunks, you can see that in the top left-hand corner there, Bored Apes, Cool Cats. Now these are PFEs, profile picture projects, and there are now like hundreds of these, okay, NFTs out there. PFPs are really fun, and they have a lot of applications way beyond just being like a kind of cute cartoon picture for growing businesses and communities. But NFTs, the PFP space is huge and has so many applications, but NFTs go way far beyond this as well. An NFT, in fact, could almost be anything, all right? It could be a share of stock. It could be a virtual sword. It could be a piece of digital art. It could be a plot of digital land. It could be the actual deed to your physical house. And you could have an NFT of your health records, okay? NFTs could be pretty much anything. So let's start at the very beginning. So what does NFT even stand for? Okay, so NFT stands for non-fungible token. What does that mean? Well, fungibility is a funny word, funny one to say as well, refers to items holding an exact value, that can be exchanged evenly. So think about it. If you have 5 $1 bills, you could exchange those 5 $1 bills for a $5 bill, and it would do the same thing. And they can be exchanged for 5 different $1 bills, and it really doesn't matter which dollar bill you have. They're all the same. They're fungible, they're interchangeable, exchangeable. In all that exchange of value, it's exactly the same. But NFTs are non-fungible, meaning that each one is unique and can't simply be exchanged for one another. Okay, you can't exchange a Bored Ape for a CryptoPunk and have it be the same thing. Even, you know, with the 10,000 Bored Apes or however many there are, each one is individual and they're not the same as the other. So the NFT tokens are non-fungible. Okay, it's a token that is not interchangeable, and it cannot directly be replaced by another token or swapped like for like you can do with dollars. They have individual characteristics that set them apart. They are unique, they are rare, and they are indivisible, okay? And they're called tokens because they're managed on the blockchain. So we have non-interchangeable tokens managed on the blockchain. That's essentially what an NFT is. And very simply, NFTs are ways to sell ownership of something in a digital space, okay, which doesn't require any central institution to do that, all right? They represent an underlying asset, and as such, they can be easily bought, sold, and traded. But what makes them even more exciting and fun is that due to the nature of smart contracts, they can also include some really interesting innovations which you just can't do outside of the NFT world. So for example, if you were an artist, you could add perpetual royalties into the smart contract of your NFT, which means that every time forevermore that artwork changed hands, you would receive a percentage that you set of the sale. Okay, so this revolutionizes and changes things for creators and artists out there. So that's just one example. Now, as I mentioned earlier, almost any asset can be transformed into an NFT in one way or another. But I'm going to give you some examples of the primary use cases at the moment. I'm sure in the future, these are all going to change and expand, but this is what people are doing today. So NFT, of course, can be used for art. And this is one of the ways that people first get into NFTs or hear about NFTs. Now, NFTs are really exciting for artists because they can allow them to create and sell and showcase their work without the traditional gatekeepers. All right, so this enables artists and creators from around the world, they can live absolutely anywhere, to profit from their talents and to sell to people also anywhere. For collectors of art, NFTs enable them to kind of irrefutably prove ownership and authenticity, and they can also proudly showcase their digital possessions in some really fun ways. Now, it also enables artists to do incredibly creative things. One of my very favorite pieces is from the artist team Hackatow, and it's called Hack of a Bear. I can't actually play this for you because I think it will take me away from this screen. So, but if you can look that up, you really should. It's beautiful. So NFTs have also led to new forms of art, I suppose. The popularity of generative art has been really big, and this is where art meets code. One of the most famous platforms for generative art is called Art Blocks. And it's launched some famous projects you might have seen. This one is Fidenza by Tyler Hobbs, which actually one of these, I don't think it was this one, but one of these actually sold for $7 million. And then we had Chromie Squiggles. This was the first release on Art Blocks by Snowfro. And this now has a floor price of around $20,000. So the cheapest one of these you can buy is $20,000, and they go way up higher than that. So those are some examples of generative art, and there is a lot of it out there, and some of it is truly beautiful stuff. Now, NFTs are also being widely used for collectibles. They're kind of like, I guess, your modern day version of basketball cards or Pokemon cards. Now, this market is really hot at the moment. So a well-known example is NBA Top Shots, which allows fans to buy and trade NBA moments in the form of NFTs. So fans and collectors around the world are able to own a little bit of their passion. You can see here, they take snippets of games and you get to own that particular moment. Of course, anybody can watch it on TV, but you own the collectible of that by owning the NFT. So that is a really fun thing that's being done, particularly in the sports world, but also anywhere where you can collect things. Now, the fashion industry has also rushed headlong into NFTs. So not only are there fashion items being designed for kind of your digital avatar, which is kind of what you would expect, I suppose, there's now a category of fashion called phygital, which is basically digital fashion for people in the real world, which I know sounds a little bit weird, but imagine being able to buy a digital outfit, which you could then dress a digital image of your real self. So if you wanted to do, let's say, I don't know, an Instagram shot and you wanted to be posing in a beautiful outfit, you could buy a digital version and superimpose it on your physical body. Okay, so this is really happening. People are doing this and it's brilliant. So here's some examples of some digital outfits that you could buy. And the great thing about digital outfits, of course, there is no waste. They are just pictures of them. There is no fabric in them. There's no production gone into them. So it's brilliant. Now, the scope for NFTs in gaming, of course, is enormous. I don't know how many of you are gamers. I am certainly not a gamer. It actually makes my head spin. But my sons, of course, are very big into it. And, you know, over the years, they've constantly wanted to buy different skins and weapons and various upgrades for their games. Now, the problem is, at the moment, most gaming items can only be used in that one particular game. So you can only buy maybe that skin for your Fortnite character. And these generally are not able to be sold or traded. Now, with NFTs, these coveted items can become easily transferable across games. They can be transferable out into the metaverse and they will be easy to sell and trade. So when gaming companies embrace this and NFTs are used in the gaming world, it's going to really revolutionize these assets that people are holding in game and make it much more easy and much more lucrative to be buying them. All right, so NFTs are also being used for virtual assets. So for example, people are buying up plots of virtual land in places like Decentraland or crypto voxels. You can buy apartments in ethereal towers. Okay, there's many different examples of where you can buy virtual real estate. People are also using NFTs to turn things like domain names into digital tokens. So instead of having a .com address, you can have a .eth address or a .crypto address, and that address becomes your wallet, your passport, and your identifier in the digital world. Once we all get a grip of these kind of new digitalized addresses like .eth and .crypto, it's going to change the way we interact with the platforms that we use and the products that we use. So there's mine. I own Georgia Bamber.eth. So you can actually send me Ethereum to that address. You could send me an NFT by just knowing that address. It's just much more user-friendly. Now, NFTs can be used to represent real-world assets as well as denoting virtual ownership, okay? So we can use it for actual physical goods. For example, you could create an NFT of your house or a piece of land, tokenize it. So imagine how much easier that would make buying and selling real estate if you could just transfer that NFT. It would also give you opportunities for fractionalization and leveraging your assets in so many different ways. The possibilities around this are endless as well. And I think people are really only just getting started on this area. So we're really just scratching the surface of the use cases here. I'm sure you guys have probably could think of some more, and they'll be popping up all the time, the way people are starting to use NFTs. So now, even having heard that, I know a lot of you may still be a little bit skeptical because a lot of people out there they think that NFTs are a scam, or they think they're just a complete waste of money, or they think they're stupid. I get it. What is the point of paying all that money for something that you could just download as a JPEG from the internet? Okay, I've downloaded some of them for this slideshow. I don't own some of the NFTs that are on there. I just got to pick the picture from the internet and I showed you. But is it the same? Is it the same to download a JPEG as opposed to owning that NFT. Owning the NFT gives you irrefutable proof of ownership of that item. Okay, it's very, very different from just being able to use a copy of it. So if you had the most amazing forged copy of Van Gogh's Starry Night, okay, so good that the best expert could hardly recognize it, would that be the same thing as owning the real thing? No, it wouldn't. In your heart, you would know it was a copy. You only have that feeling of ownership when you own the real thing. If you could drive around in your friend's Ferrari, okay, would it be the same as driving around in your own? No, it's not, okay? There is something about owning an original, all right? The real thing that makes it special. And that is what an NFT gives you. It gives you irrefutable, traceable, and unforgeable ownership. Many NFTs are also becoming highly prized status symbols, right? They're a massive digital flex. I mean, really owning a Bored Ape is the equivalent of owning a Ferrari, I suppose. So that's how they're working. So if this is getting interested, so can you see how NFTs are more than just JPEGs? If you can't yet see it, I'm going to show you some stats that hopefully might convince you. So here's the first one. Nearly $41 billion worth of crypto was spent on NFT marketplaces in 2021. All right. So in 2020, conventional art and antique sales amounted to 50 billion. So you can see we're really closing the gap. There's almost as many NFT sales last year as there were conventional art sales. And I promise you, it's just skyrocketing from there. Second one, the most valuable NFT is worth 91.8 million. I know, crazy, right? So this was an NFT that was released by an artist called Pack. It was called The Merge, and it rose to the top of NFT ranks when it sold for more than 91.8 million. And what it was is that 30,000 collectors actually pitched in together and made Merge the biggest NFT sale ever. I was one of these 30,000 people, okay? I did buy a little bit of history. You can see mine there. I know it doesn't look very exciting, okay? But really, it is more than just that blob you see on the screen. It's become a really complex and intriguing game that is unfolding in real time as owners of these little masses, these pieces of the Merge, are kind of battling to create the biggest merge. It's very interesting. So it's not just about the picture, but that was an exciting thing to be part of. Now, the third statistic I have for you here is that NFT trading volume rose by 704% between Q2 and Q3 in 2021, okay? With 8-fold gains in quarterly trading. That's massive. The value of all global NFT transactions in the third quarter hit 10.7 billion, all right? So NFTs are an asset class that are set to explode over the next decade. They impact nearly every sector of the economy. We could even get to the point that we find that people own more digital items than they do physical items, which is crazy to think about, but it looks like it's going that way. It really is happening. Now, why are people getting so excited about NFTs? Well, it's because NFTs aren't just about owning artworks or proving digital ownership. That's all great, and it's really fun, and it's, you know, a very good use case for NFTs. But they are so much more than that. They're becoming a really powerful tool to help communities form businesses and helping them to grow and to connect with their audiences. And they're creating whole new ways of running organizations in the form of DAOs, these decentralized organizations. So companies and businesses, both big and small, doesn't matter the size, are jumping onto the NFT bandwagon and reaping enormous gains for both themselves and for their customer base. So how does this work? How could you leverage the power of NFTs in your personal life and in your business? What I think a best way to do this, we're going to take a look at a few projects to give you some ideas of what's being done out there. And this might spark some ideas for you as to how you might be able to use this strategy. All right, so we talked about Bored Apes, probably one of the most famous projects at the moment. Okay, it's got some, holders including Justin Bieber, Jimmy Fallon, Eminem, Paris Hilton, Steve Aoki, Steph Curry, Serena Williams, just to name a few. Okay, so Bored Apes really is a list of who's who out there. Now, the amazing thing about this project is that when it was first minted, and I think it was only like, I don't know, mid last year, it wasn't that long ago, you could pick up an ape for 0.08 Ethereum. Okay, so 0.08 ETH, which at the time was about $190. All right. Today, the cheapest ape that you could buy, so the one on the very floor on the secondary market, has a price tag of 100 ETH, so around $250,000. And the most expensive one so far has sold for 2.85 million. So think about that return on investment, $190 to 2.85 million in less than a year. It's pretty crazy. Now, this might seem insane, all right, paying this much for a digital picture of an ape. But as I said, it's not just about the picture. It's firstly that massive flex, okay? If you've got a Bored Ape as your profile picture, people know you're playing with the cool kids, all right? But it also grants you access to an exclusive club, all right? Your NFT essentially becomes your membership card to that club. You get to network with the other Bored Ape holders, you get to attend real life events, you get to buy exclusive Bored Ape merchandise, you get access to big up and coming projects, and you find that you actually get a whole lot of additional NFT collectibles for free, all right? So Bored Apes has become this really well-known, successful, and highly desirable community all around these cartoon ape pictures. But these kinds of communities aren't just for the super well-heeled Bored Apes, all right? There are a ton of projects out there creating communities of all different kinds, which revolve around really any kind of interest. So you can pretty much find an NFT project that suits almost any interest or taste. So I've got a few examples on the screen here. So we've got World of Women, which is the one at the top on the left. And this was probably the first biggest women-led project. And it celebrates inclusivity and equal opportunities. You can see that little cute teddy bear down there. That's from the Littles. And this project is all about kind of having fun and remembering how to play. Then you can see the 888 in a circle, which gives you access to curated NFT drops by world-class artists and allows you to access partner drops in real life events. Then the little guy down the bottom, he's a Thingdom. And this is just a really fun, inclusive, lighthearted community. It's got its own radio station called Thing FM. And then that rabbit at the top is from a project called Fluff World. And Fluff World gives you access to music and to events and to metaverse avatars. I mean, as I said, there are hundreds of these projects and they're coming out every single day. And you can definitely find something that suits your interests. So those are just a few examples for you. Now, NFTs have become this amazing branding and marketing opportunity. Okay, there are loads of big names jumping on board. Okay, Nike, Gucci, Bugatti, Pepsi, Budweiser, they're all coming out with NFTs and creating communities around their brands. Now, I bought this Adidas Originals NFT, which you can see in the picture there. They actually hooked up with Bored Apes, G Money, and Punk's comic. And this NFT actually gives holders the rights to 4 exclusive drops of merchandise. Plus, there's going to be other metaverse and digital benefits in the future as well. So I've had this NFT, I think, for, I don't know, 3 months or something now, 3-4 months. And I've already got one free NFT from a collaboration with Adidas Prada for owning this, which was worth around $1,000, just dropped into my wallet for free. You would be amazed when you get into this crypto and NFT world, how much free stuff you start getting dropped into your wallet. It's really fun. It happens to be on almost a weekly basis. Anyway, the main point is that NFTs for brands are a great way to get visibility, but also to leverage the power of community, okay? People kind of, once you've got that NFT, you usually get access to a gated community chat, and there's a lot of networking that goes on within these communities. Now, they are also an excellent way to raise money, okay? So for example, with this drop of this NFT, Adidas made over $22 million, okay? So it's a lucrative thing to do as well. Other ones who've jumped in, Tiger Beer was just a smaller one recently, a Singaporean beer brand. They jumped in on the trend with Tiger Archives NFT. And this NFT offers merchandise, events, parties, and of course, it's got a beer redemption program. Nike, you can see that pink-haired girl on the right there, she's a Clone X. So Nike acquired virtual sneaker designer RTFKT and their Clone X NFT, and this skyrocketed the news about these NFTs. And these now have a floor price, so the lowest price of approximately 15 ETH. So that's around $37,500 for a little pink lady like that. Now, NFTs can be used to create exclusive membership communities for pretty much any business, okay? It doesn't have to be a big famous brand. You can use NFTs to create that community around your own business, offering benefits such as unique merchandise, discounts, promotions, access to events. And people are coming up with really creative ways to use them as well. So there's a company called StockX. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's a well-known marketplace for buying and selling sneakers and other kind of current culture apparel. And they've started selling it NFTs as well. So for example, you could buy an NFT of this pair of Air Jordans, and then you've got the choice to either keep the NFT and trade it as an NFT, or you can actually redeem it for that physical item. So they're connecting coveted physical items with investable digital assets. It's a genius idea and makes it so easy to buy these collectibles without necessarily always having to take stock of the physical item. So I think it's super clever. Now, as I said, NFTs is a great way to raise money. If you have an idea or a project or a business that you would like to raise money for, if you think you can get a community behind it, then NFTs is an amazing way to raise capital. Now, it could be for just a pure community project. It could be for something like a writers collective or a fitness group or an art group. For example, this project, you can see this guy here. It's one that was recently released. It's called the Jacked Ape Club. It's all about building a global fitness community and a brand. So that's a really fun one. So as well as a strong kind of online community that these guys are developing, they're going to be hosting real world events, and they're going to be building a virtual gym clubhouse in the metaverse as well. So that's just one example of how you can create a community and launch an NFT around almost anything. Now, money is also being raised with NFTs to start business in real life. I recently came across this hilarious project by an Australian team called Metabogans, of all things, and they're aiming to raise revenues to create a community-owned brewery, all right, with revenues earned from that brewery being distributed back to the NFT holders. So there's going to be real-world benefits, and they're building this online community. It's really fun. Now, if you want to learn how to speak Australian, this is your group. There's some shocking language that I don't even understand going on in that group. But anyway, this is just an example about how people are using NFTs to make something in the virtual world, like creating a community there, but also building something tangible in the real world. Now, oh, he's played, there's a few of them there, sorry, okay. But of course, NFTs don't all have to be about business. NFTs are also being used in the charity sector as well, okay? So I'm actually working with a group now, and we are launching an NFT project to actually kickstart a national park. All right, so you can really use them for anything. I've seen other NFTs being used to raise money to clear the oceans of plastic. There are carbon capture NFT projects, so many of them. So really, this technology can be used to raise money for any kind of project, be it in the corporate sector or in the charity sector, doesn't really matter. There's so many different ways that you can use this strategy to raise money, build communities, and develop real projects and products that are going to help people. Now, of course, NFTs don't all have to be about business, all right? It's also really fun, all right? I do not want to tell you how many days I spend in Discord kind of surfing through different NFT projects, all right? It's really fun, and it's actually potentially pretty lucrative, okay, if you understand what you're doing and do it well. So if you want to collect some amazing art, or maybe you want to join one of these NFT communities, like, people are becoming members of tight-knit groups. They're making friends, they're making connections, and they're making money, all right? more and more people are joining the NFT space every single day. Okay, they learn how to buy and use crypto when they join the NFT space. They become part of vibrant communities, and it really whets your appetite to understand more about these new technologies and applications that are coming. We are, these things are coming, heading at us, with light speed. All right, we are entering into this world of Web3 and this more interconnected, decentralized world. We are going to be able to work in different ways. We're going to be able to govern our organizations in different ways. And NFTs is really that gateway. It's that key to getting into that world. Now, I could probably talk to you all day, I mean, seriously, all day and more about this exciting new world that we are entering into, but I've only really got an hour to do that. So I hope that in this short amount of time that we've had today in this workshop, I've at least managed to pique your interest and perhaps have gotten you excited enough to want to explore further, to want to understand more about blockchain and crypto and Web3 and how you can get involved in NFTs, to see how you could develop an NFT strategy to really grow your business or help your community or get an idea started. So if this sounds like you, if you have had your interest piqued and you do want to take this a step further, I've got two options for you. So firstly, if you're just interested in learning how to get started in terms of you want to buy an NFT, so how to sign up for a digital wallet, how to buy crypto, how to buy that first NFT, I'm going to be hosting a workshop. You can see it there. It's called NFT Workshop, Get Started in NFTs. Oh, it says Get Started in NFTs. I need to change that. But if you are interested in that, and this is just a hands-on, I'm going to walk you through from the very beginning, from knowing nothing to being able to buy your first NFT. If you would like to learn that process, and I will also be telling you the kind of all the, I don't know, the ins and outs of it, and there's some of the safety things that you need to know so that you can avoid being scammed and losing money, which happens when people don't understand what they're doing. So if you would like to learn and understand how to get started, highly recommend you sign up for that. It's just going to be a 1-hour workshop where I walk you through how it all works. Now, if you have a business or you have a business idea or there's a project that you've got brewing in the back of your mind and you would be interested in discussing how I could help you with that, to help you develop a strategy, not only develop the strategy, but help you execute that strategy and make it a reality, then I would love for you to book in a time so that we can have a chat about that. So if you would like to do that, the link you can see there, the georgiabamber.as.me/NFT consult, that will take you to my calendar where you can book in a time where we can have a chat. So that would be fantastic. I would love to hear more about what you would like to achieve. So 2 ways for newbies who just want to get started. Book in for the workshop at bit.ly/get-started-NFT. And if you're interested in a bit of NFT strategy for your business or community, book in that little consultation with me. It's free, and we can just have a chat about how I might be able to help you. So that's it, guys. Sorry that this had to be just a recording and that we are not doing this live. Completely was my fault due to technical glitches, as I said earlier. But if you have questions that you would have liked to discuss with me, please feel free to drop me a line, and I am more than happy to answer this. I don't have my email on there, but I will spell it out for you. So my email is Georgia, Georgia, at Bamber, BAMBER.com. So Georgia@georgiabamber.com is my email. So if you want to get in touch, and if you have any questions, I am more than happy to answer them. So thank you very much for your time today. I hope you found that interesting and helpful. And I will hopefully speak to some of you soon and see you in that workshop or in one of those consultations. So have a great day. Enjoy your weekend coming up if you're watching this ahead of the weekend. That's it. Bye.